Hey,
Assalamualaikum Simi.
alaikum salam, brother.
كيف حالك?
What's that?
كيف حالك?
كويس, shukran. Tamam.
Okay, Simi, can we go straight to the question?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Three-time Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn. Thanks for talking to us on Astro Arena. Sami, when you compare all your victories as WWE Intercontinental Champions, which one stands out the most and why, Sami?
I think it would maybe be the second win because I had never lost the first time. I had taken a few months off because it was the beginning part of the pandemic and there was a lot of unknown questions. And I won't get into all the details, but I left WWE for a few months at the very beginning of the pandemic. And so I had come back saying, oh, I never lost the title. I'm still champion. But at this time, AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy were wrestling each other for the other Intercontinental Championship. So we had a really terrific ladder match to crown the official Intercontinental Champion. And that's where I won it the second time. And I think that one means the most to me because those are two guys that I really look up to, admire, respect their abilities, both future Hall of Famers. And the match itself was just so much fun. And it was just really, really great. The only thing, that's the one time during the Thunderdome era where I really wished fans were there because I thought that match in front of a crowd would have been just bonkers, just crazy. So I think that was the title win that holds the highest place in my heart of the three Intercontinental title wins.
Okay, Sami. So let's talk about the bloodline. What's going with you there?
You know, it's been kind of crazy. It's been a little up and down. It's been a little rocky. I admit that, I do. But, you know, it's also new. It's new. They're getting used to me. I'm getting used to them. But overall, I think it's going to be a very good partnership. I think it's hopefully entertaining for the fans to watch this whole story kind of unfold. And, you know, one week it goes one way and some weeks it goes the other. But all that to say, I really like and respect those guys very much. The Usos, Heyman, Roman, I think their work speaks for themselves. So it's very fun to be, if nothing else, it's just fun to be on the show with them. Because
okay,
I like
it. Okay, Sami. Summerslam 2022, we know that it's not too far away. It has been a while since fans have seen you in SummerSlam, I think in 2016, right? So can fans expect you to make a surprise appearance there? Maybe? Can you tell us about it?
I can't say anything for sure because a lot of this stuff is out of my hands, but I really feel like I should have been the referee for the Usos versus the Street Profits match. I just think it makes a lot of sense. And they picked Jeff Jarrett. I can't control that, but if there's anywhere for me to be slotted on the show, I feel like that's the place. And I'll do what I can to make it happen, but I don't see how I can at this point.
I was listening to your rapid fire Q&A with the legendary Stone Cold Steve Austin. You mentioned Bret Hart, Sami. You mentioned Bret Hart as your dream opponent. Why Bret Hart, Sami? Why Bret Hart?
Just because he, well, first of all, as a child, he was my hero. He was my favorite wrestler growing up. But then also now as a grown up and as a 20-year veteran, and as a guy who studied his work for so long, I just think he's unbelievable. I thought he was unbelievable when I was a kid, and I was right. But then I got older, and I realized he was really unbelievable on a much different level, on a deeper level, when it came to what he could do in the ring. You know, so I always have a lot of respect for him. And
so, Sami, can I say Bret Hart is your idol in wrestling?
He's one of them for sure. There, you know, at different parts of my childhood and my youth, I kind of, it changes a little bit, but definitely, I think when I first fell in love with wrestling, it was like Hulk Hogan because I was so drawn to the spectacle. And as I got a little bit older, especially being a kid from Canada, Bret Hart and his matches just completely made me fall in love with wrestling on a much deeper level. and that's where I really started to go a bit crazy with my my fandom.
So are there any parts or movement, the way you perform in the ring, that are similar to Brett?
You know, I don't know. I feel like maybe, and this was actually, I took Steve Austin said this to me, and I took it as a huge compliment, and I don't know how true it is because I've never actually wrestled Bret Hart, but from talking to me, he kind of said that you and Bret kind of approach matches the same way, and you really respect the artistry, you know, and the story of the match and the craft. And I think that is a huge compliment if that's the truth. But I think his approach to wrestling is what I rubbed off on me the most. Just the storytelling and the drama that he was able to harness and create in his matches. You know, it's more than just the moves. You know, I don't do the same moves as him. I don't do the Russian leg sweep or the sharpshooter or whatever. I don't do the same moves. But I think the spirit is the same, and the spirit of the competition, and the spirit of a good story, and the spirit of the fight. I think that's where maybe there's some commonality.
Sami, can you name one upcoming young wrestler in the WWE who has the potential to be maybe the next Sami Zayn?
Oh, no, not really.
Why no, Sami? Why no?
I thought your question was just going to be: is there a young superstar that you think is going to be a big star? And you know, you look at Theory, for example, and obviously he's doing really well, and he's really young. He's only like 24 or something. It's pretty impressive. But I don't think he's the next Sami Zayn. He's going to be his own thing. But
so you said Sami, only one Sami Zayn.
Well, I think so, but I think there's only one of a lot of people, you know. And if you're pretty good at this, there only should be one of you. There shouldn't be somebody else who could just step in and be the next you. The same way there's not a next Bret Hart or a next Steve Austin or a next John Cena or a next, you know, whoever you want to say, any of the greats, Roman Reigns or any of these guys. If you're creating your own thing, then it's so specific to you that there couldn't possibly be somebody else who just walks in and does the same thing. I mean, of course, there's, you know, parallels, but I kind of also feel like the character I've crafted in combination with my in-ring work is pretty unique. And I don't really know, and I'm not saying this to kind of cheerlead myself here, but I don't know who else coming down the pike, who else coming up I could really compare that to. Somebody who blends the style that I do in the ring with the character stuff and the personality and the interviews. I don't know anyone coming up that quite has that same sort of mix. So I don't really know how to answer that.
Okay, Sami, you have been wrestling for 20 years. So what's been the best career advice you have received?
You know, it's hard to say one particular piece of advice. I think there's various light bulb moments that you have in your career. It's so hard to just say one. I don't know. I really don't know.
Sami,
I can't think of one. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you can share who has been your biggest influence, especially in your life.
In my wrestling career, I don't know. Like, this might sound strange to say, but I think in a way I'd have to say Kevin Owens, because
your best friend.
I think we've always, yeah, and I don't think it's like, it's not in the way that you might think, as like, you know, when you think of somebody helping you out, sometimes you envision somebody who's much smarter than you, who's been around much longer than you, giving you advice and helping you pull you up. But in the case of Kevin and I, because we started out so young and we started out together, I think we always kind of pushed each other in a strange way to get better. Okay. And in a very healthy, it's a very healthy competition, I think. At least I thought so. I don't think it was malicious, but you know, I think we're just two people that, in a way, always were able to look at each other and be like, "Oh man, he's doing really well. I got to step it up." And then I would do that, and then he would do that. And I think we always had each other to measure up against. And I think that's kind of what took both of us to the heights that we've reached. Uh, I would say he's probably been more influential in my career in that regard than anybody else, and I'd probably say the same is true for him and with me, because you can't really tell the story of my career without mentioning him, and you can't really talk about his career without mentioning me. We're just so linked.
Okay, Sami, my last question. I've read about how you are trying to improve the perceptions of Arabs and Muslim in professional wrestling. So how do you think you have done that? And one more, I also know that you have maybe foundation, Sami for Syria, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Can you share about that, Sami?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I appreciate that. Because anytime I get to talk about that, I think it puts new eyes on what we're trying to do, and that helps tremendously. So the first part of your question about trying to improve the reputation of Arabs or Muslims, I do think that was a small part of me first joining WWE. Is I had it in my head where I didn't want to become a caricature of an Arab or a Muslim like you'd seen before in the wrestling industry with, like, the Iron Sheik or whoever, or, just I didn't want to be a cartoon character of a bad guy Arab or a bad guy Muslim. That was very important to me. So I appreciate that I was given the space to just be myself and just be me, and being me just happens to be an Arab Muslim kid. And in a way, I think that might resonate with people in a more positive way than trying to become like Mr. Arabia and like wear the jalabi and wear a headdress and do all these things, and just be, I guess, more relatable and disarming to people that maybe don't know Muslims very well, or have heard scary things about Arabs and Muslims on the news and all this stuff. And because I do think Arabs and Muslims have been demonized in the media for many, many, many years. So I think just being a normal guy who's just himself, and he happens to be Arab and Muslim, I think that's more disarming, and that does more positive than anything else. And then with regards to the second part of your question, which again I appreciate you bringing up, Sami for Syria, it's something I launched 5 years ago, where again, being an Arab, being Syrian, my country's been decimated by war, and there's so many people who are in so many terrible conditions. And I was able to partner with an organization to basically launch a mobile clinic. And what this clinic does is it goes to all these people who have been displaced by the war, whose homes have been destroyed, and they don't have access to healthcare. It's a clinic that goes straight to them and delivers medical aid to them for free. And it's been going for 5 years now. In fact, currently we have 2 of them going at the same time. So it's reaching so many more people. So I'm very, very proud of that. And none of that would be possible without people donating. And so I've been astounded by people's generosity. And if anybody wants to contribute, every dollar goes a very long way. It's samiforsyria.com. You can donate internationally. And another thing that I particularly like about it is you can see the direct results of where your money's going, versus, for example, an organization like UNICEF or something like that. These are organizations that do wonderful things, but they're so big that when you donate, you have no idea where your money's going exactly. But in this case, when you donate, you can directly see where your money goes. You can see this clinic in operation, stocked full of medication, delivering care to people that you're seeing living in tents, and you could see it for yourself. So I think that's something that's really great. And I think everybody wants to help, but a lot of people just don't know where, So I think we've made something very easy, very direct, that you can help people who are directly suffering. So if people are interested in that, samiforsyria.com. And again, I thank you for asking me about that.
I will be the one who support.
Thank you.
I will be the one who support that, Sami.
Thank you.
Sami, last word for the WWE Universe in Malaysia.
I just said this. I was talking to somebody else from Malaysia. I'll say it to you as well. We were there many years ago. It feels like yesterday, but it was almost 8 years ago now. And it was 2 of the best shows we've ever done internationally. The crowd was so amazing. I think a lot of the superstars didn't know what to expect. Even I didn't know that the crowd would be that good, but the crowd was amazing. I remember that very, very specifically. And I've actually even asked, when are we going back? When are we going back? Because the crowd was that good. So just keep being great. And I hope we can come back and perform for you all very, very soon.
Okay, Sami. Shukran. Jazakallah
Shukran.
khairan kathira.
Shukran. Shukran. Thank you very much.